35-year-old male driver complains of swelling, redness, pain over the right foot and fever since 11 p.m. The night before, pills and riders were also present. First 5 similar episode lasting 5 to 7 days with complete recovery. There is history of psoriasis 5 years back, renal stones in 2019. There is family history of hypertension, diabetes and psoriasis. And brother also gives history of arthritis. Can I continue, sir?
Yeah, you can analyze now itself if you want.
Yes.
What do you make out of this?
Yes, sir. So there is a 35-year-old male who with a known history of psoriasis and family history of arthritis coming to us with a monoarthritis, sir, predominantly over the right foot, sir. Which is a type of inflammatory arthritis because of the presence of swelling, redness and the pain, sir. It's also giving history of fever, sir. With the background history of psoriasis and a family history of psoriasis, one of my DD will be psoriatic arthritis, sir. Psoriatic arthritis can present as monoarthritis, sir, involving the small joints. It can also present as symmetrical oligoarthritis, or it can present in the form of dactylitis or enthesitis, sir. Another diagnosis I'll consider will be in view of swelling of the right foot. The presence of gout can also be a possibility, sir. Monoarticular joint involvement. Then another thing, he is a driver, so any history of any trauma I will ask. If there is a history of trauma and traumatic arthritis like that can also be a possibility, sir, because the history is very acute. So these are the initial things I will consider, sir. And because of a history of a driver, any sexually transmitted diseases also I'll get into consideration, sir, actually.
So you said 4 possibilities now. First possibility, you said psoriasis.
Yes.
Okay. What are the common types of psoriasis you know of?
Psoriasis, most common type is involving the skin, sir. Plaque psoriasis can be, pustular psoriasis, gutted psoriasis, sir. Then it can be psoriasis involving the joints, psoriatic arthritis, which will happen usually in majority of the cases. The history of psoriasis followed by the involvement of the arthritis. Psoriatic arthritis will be there.
And another type of psoriatic skin disease is the erythroderma variety, where you get a complete exfoliation of the whole body.
Okay, sir.
Also, you can have onycholysis, involvement of the nails. That can be one presentation. But when somebody presents to you with a fever, rigor and chills, don't you consider the possibility of cellulitis?
Yes, sir. Secondary trauma, third possibility was cellulitis.
Cellulitis is a possibility. Then you said about sexually transmitted diseases can produce arthritis. Which one you are considering here?
Syphilitic arthritis, sir.
Syphilitic arthritis will come after many years. Gluteus joint. You can have painless joint. Okay, you can have painless joints or neuropathic joint, Charcot's joint. But can you consider gonococcal arthritis?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can. Gonococcal arthritis can be a possibility, sir.
Does it produce fever, rigor, chills? Yes, when there's septicemia, they have.
Okay.
They'll have synovitis, pustules all over the body, and they will be having perihepatitis, producing hepatic rupture. And then, of course, you have to demonstrate pus per urethra. And rarely, if the pus per urethra is absent, you have to take swabs from the sites where there can be exposure, like pharynx or rectum. Urethral swabs are commonly done. So, second possibility you said is gout. Why do you think it's a gout? Does it gout produce fever, rigor and chills?
Fever can be there, so because of the inflammation, fever can be there, sir. Gout producing fever can be there. With the possibility, sir, because involving the foot, so mainly over the metatarsophalangeal joint, it can involve, sir. So that's why consider the possibility of a gout, sir. and it will be acute history, sir. Acute history will be there, and there is a past history also of similar complaints, sir. Whenever, but the other thing I would like to ask him is whether he's an alcoholic, sir, and the subsequent history also will be like history of hypertension, for which if he's on thiazide diuretics can precipitate hyperuricemia. This all history will be important, sir.
His brother has arthritis. So what are the arthritis that runs in families?
So psoriatic arthritis family history can be there, sir.
Psoriatic arthritis can run in family. Any other arthritis with the family history?
Rheumatoid arthritis, sir.
Not commonly. Not commonly.
Okay, sir. Then
all the groups of patients in the group called spondyloarthropathy runs in families. Concurrent spondylitis, reactive arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease can run in families. What about hemophilia?
Yes, sir. Hemophilic arthritis can also be run in families.
What about hemochromatosis?
Yes, sir. Hemochromatosis family history is possible, sir.
So there are a couple of things you have to put in the differential diagnosis. Now, what about gout? Does it run in families?
Yes, sir. Gout also family history can be there, sir. Gout.
And then there's a history of episodic arthritis. So, what are the differential diagnoses of episodic arthritis?
Episodic arthritis involving the small joints can be part of rheumatoid arthritis, sir. They can have.
No. Rheumatoid arthritis will not subside just like that. What are the conditions producing episodic arthritis?
Psoriatic arthritis can have episodic arthritis, sir. Gout can have episodic arthritis, sir.
Psoriatic arthritis patient does not improve just like that. Psoriatic arthritis takes time. It's a chronic type of process.
Okay.
What are the arthritis that comes and goes? If common differential diagnosis will be gout, pseudo gout, palindrome chromatism, rheumatic fever.
Okay, sir.
Come to the personal history.
Personal history is a smoker from the age of 12 years. Ethanol 4 to 5 units during weekends only, sir. There's multiple unprotected exposure is present. He's a driver of national permit heavy vehicle. He prefers non-vegetarian food, sir. Drug history, there is history of intake of telmisartan along with hydrochlorothiazide and history of intake of NSAIDs whenever required, sir.
So, based upon whatever information you have got, what do you think he has got?
He is having multiple unprotected exposure is there, sir. So one of the possibilities can be a gonococcal arthritis. It's a possibility, sir. Multiple unprotected exposure. Then another thing, he is a non-hypertensive on hydrochlorothiazide, sir. So the possibility of a thiazide induced hyperuricemia leading to gout can be a possibility, sir.
Right. So, which is the commonest joint affected in gonorrhea? It is something like septic arthritis. Commonest joint will be knee joint.
Knee joint. Okay, sir.
And 5 episodes earlier, do you think it is gonococcal arthritis?
No, sir. Because
what is meant by reactive arthritis?
Reactive arthritis will arthritis which happens secondary to any infection, sir. Usually it will be secondary to chlamydia. It can be secondary to Neisseria, gonorrhea also, sir. Reactive arthritis will be associated with any urethral discharge can be there, sir. It can be associated with keratoderma brenorrhetica. It can also be associated with uveitis like features can also happen. This will be reactive arthritis main features. Mainly it presents asymmetric oligoarthritis, sir, involving predominantly the large joints, sir.
In reactive arthritis, commonly presents with the fever. 2, it comes episodically. 3, it is usually preceded 2-3 weeks before infection. So when you examine the patient, urethra may be normal. It can be gastrointestinal infection or it can be urethritis. And the third component will be usually conjunctivitis. Conjunctivitis, urethritis, arthritis in the background. And it can come episodically. So reactive arthritis is more likely than gonococcal following exposure in this particular patient. Any other possibility that comes to your mind? No. Okay. Let's go forward. On examination, what all things you expect to find in this patient? You put differential diagnosis. You said psoriasis. You said gout. You said gonorrhea. You said the reactive arthritis. So what all things you want to examine to confirm your impression?
Examination first I'll do the examination of the involved joint, sir. Examination of the involved joint will help us to differentiate between the inflammatory arthritis or the non-inflammatory arthritis, sir. Inflammatory arthritis usually will have redness, swelling, erythema of the joints will be present, sir. This will be, then I will have to check for any dystrophy, nail dystrophy is there, I'll check, sir. Because nail dystrophy is very common in patients with psoriasis. Then I'll check for the other joints also, sir, whether any other joints involvement, any small joints of the hands, any other joints like knee joint, large hip joint involved also I'll check. Then examination, the eye examination, because one of our DD is a reactive, it is any presence of any conjunctivitis I will check for, sir. Then the periurethral area, any discharge is there, all this I'll take into account.
That's good. Where will you look for the psoriatic lesions?
Psoriatic lesions, sir, skin lesions can be predominantly skin over the nail, sir. In the nail dystrophy can happen, sir. Then skin also I'll involve skin over the skin or the extensor surface of the skin. I'll look for the plaque psoriasis like features. I'll look for, sir. Then the nail any dystrophic stages I'll look for in the nail, sir. This will be the main things I'll look in the.
Tell me the hidden areas of psoriasis, which we commonly miss. It may be there.
Scalp, sir. Scalp can be there over the inguinal regions, can be there over the axilla.
Scalp is correct.
Okay.
Then other hidden areas are gluteal cleft, periumbilical area, palms and soles, natal cleft. These are the 5 hidden areas commonly. Okay. So you have to search for those areas. Yes, these are the findings on examination.
Examination weight was 110 kg, BMI is 31, pulse rate is 80 beats per minute, BP 150/100 millimeters of mercury, temperature is 100.5. Psoriasis present of the scalp, elbows and knees. Foot red, swollen, tender, grade 4. There is no regional lymph nodes.
So what do you make out after general examination?
So we have a 35-year-old male truck driver who is obese, sir. BMI is 31.
What is the criteria to say obesity?
BMI more than 30, sir.
For Indians, what's the normal? Asians, what's normal?
18.5 to 24.5, sir.
23. So see, so that's normal. He's above normal. Is he coming to category of obesity or morbid obesity?
No.
Okay. What are the questions you would like to ask obese people commonly when you meet them?
Obese people, we have to ask for any history of any diabetes. Any history of hypertension is there? Any hypercholesterolemia history you have to ask for, sir? This I have to ask. Then.
Okay. 2 things you must always ask is, one is snoring at night and daytime somnolence.
Okay.
So obstructive sleep apnea. And coming to his blood pressure, what's your opinion?
Blood pressure normally it should be within below 130/80, sir. For this patient, his BP is 150/100, sir. It's high, sir. So it is uncontrolled with the present medication. So either or his compliance is not good, or it's uncontrolled with the present medications which he's taking, sir.
Is it stage 1 or stage 2? How do you stage them?
Stage 2, sir.
Stage 2. Okay, so you think it's a stage 2. So in a hypertensive patient, what are the examinations you want? The clinical examination.
Hypertensive patients, we have to check in the fundoscopy examination for any presence of hypertensive retinopathy is very important, sir. Then
How many grades are there?
4 grades.
So chronic hypertension produces grade 1, 2 or grade 3 or 4. Acute hypertension produces grade 1, 2 or 3 or 4.
Chronic hypertension will produce grade 1 or 2, sir.
And acute?
Grade 3 or 4, sir.
3 or 4. Okay. So you are checking. Anything else you will examine hypertensive patients?
Hypertensive patient, we have to check in the cardiovascular system for the presence of any heart murmurs, any presence of
What murmur you are looking for?
aortic stenosis leading to any ESM murmurs.
So what will be the blood pressure in aortic stenosis?
It will be low volumes. It will be low, sir.
So why do you say hypertensive patient you look for aortic stenosis? No. Hypertensive patient look for left ventricular hypertrophy. You look for heaving apex. Okay. So these patients are psoriasis of the scalp, elbows and knees. What are the signs you want to elicit in psoriasis? What is OSPIT sign?
OSP sign will be the peeling of the superficial layer of the skin. Not sure, sir.
When you get a glass slide and scratch over the lesion, the scaling will take place and you can see the bleeding spots. Okay. What is Koebner phenomenon?
On striking of the skin over the affected surface, the opposite, not sure, sir.
When you scratch around, all around the scratch marks, you get the new lesions.
Okay.
And there is a grade 4 tenderness. Which are the conditions where you get grade 4 tenderness? Grade 4 means patient doesn't allow you to touch. Okay. That's extreme form of tenderness. Which are the conditions where you find this type of extreme forms of tenderness?
Can be present in gout, sir.
Right.
Then
septic arthritis, rheumatic fever can produce this type of. So the problems you identified in these patients are, can you summarize the problems?
The patient had the monoarthritis of the left foot, sir. Then
how did you confirm it is arthritis? We said swelling, no?
Swelling. Okay.
Okay, right. Anyway. Okay.
Yeah, and then there is also presence of multiple psoriatic plaques over the body, sir. Along with that, he's a overweight male with an uncontrolled BP.
Not overweight, obese. Obese. And so problems are obesity, you're right. Hypertension, uncontrolled, you said. Psoriasis, you said. Swelling of the foot. He has stones. The family, he has stones, no? 2019, he had stones. And he has family history of similar complaints. And he uses ethanol. And he has past history of exposure and is tobacco using. Yes. So, how will you distinguish gouty swelling in the foot from arthritis? What are the important points about gouty swelling of the foot?
Gouty swelling usually involves the metatarsophalangeal joint, sir.
Gouty swelling of the foot usually is a very diffuse swelling, and the swelling will not be confined to one particular joint, although the starting point will be the metatarsophalangeal joint and the maximum tenderness will be there. The swelling will be all around. That's why it is commonly mistaken for cellulitis, and that's why it's called as gouty inflammation rather than gouty arthritis. So our provisional diagnosis comes as
gout can be a possibility, sir.
Yes. He has got fever and arthritis. Tell me some conditions producing fever and arthritis.
Fever and arthritis can be part of rheumatic fever, sir.
Right.
It's a rheumatic fever. Then it can be presence of reactive arthritis. There can be fever and arthritis.
There can be. Right. Very good. Okay.
Yes, sir. Then any viral fevers can have fever and arthritis, sir. Viral.
Okay. Tell me some viruses producing arthritis.
Enterovirus can produce arthritis, sir.
Example.
Enterovirus 70. Not sure, sir.
What is chikungunya? How does it?
Chikungunya fever can produce breakbone fever, severe back pain and joint pain can
No,
happen.
no. Breakbone disease is dengue fever.
Sorry, sir. Sir.
Chikungunya, how does it manifest? Chikungunya presents a fever one day and arthritis of major joints, crippling to the patient that he becomes bent. And there will be characteristic skin lesions.
Yes.
Name a virus producing chronic arthritis. Parvo B19 is one which can mimic rheumatoid arthritis. Okay. Can Lyme disease present as arthritis?
Yes, sir.
What is it due to? Lyme disease.
Borrelia burgdorferi, sir.
Okay. So which are the systems affected in this infection?
Skin can be erythema migrans. Skin involvement will be there, sir.
Erythema chronica migrans, right?
Yeah. Lyme disease can involve the central nervous system, sir. It can produce bilateral seventh nerve palsy, sir.
And meningoencephalitis can also occur, right?
Yes, sir.
What are the cardiovascular manifestations?
It can cause aortitis, sir.
It's a very common cause for complete heart block.
Okay.
So that's one possibility that you can entertain in this patient. So you can have gonorrhea as a possibility, rheumatic fever as a possibility. Don't you consider that?
Yes, sir. Rheumatic fever.
What are the points against it? What the usual age group?
Yes. A younger age group will be affected.
What age? Rheumatic fever age group.
Children, sir, around the age of 5 to 10 to 15, 5 to 10 years will be affected more, sir.
5 to 15 is the usual age. Okay. And how many joints will be affected?
Migratory polyarthritis, sir, it will be.
Poly. This is only mono. That's poly. So that's again unlikely. So we have found out he has got fever with arthritis. Hypertension is there. The foot is the site where it's commonly affected here. So approach diagnosis has to be gout in this patient. Everything is pointing towards a gout as a possibility. What are supportive factors? You already mentioned few.
Yes, sir.
What are he's obese? He using ethanol.
Obesity can be.
Ethanol is there. He has family history. Can it produce stones?
History of renal stone.
Can it produce stones in a gout?
Yes, sir. Uric acid stone can be a possibility, sir.
There's a clue in the history.
Yes.
He had stones. Diacides you rightly pointed out. Commonly they are hypertensive and episodic disease.
Yes.
So everything is favorable to us to a diagnosis of gout. Okay, so what investigations you plan in this patient?
First of all, we have to do a complete blood profile, CBC with ESR, to know the degree of inflammation, sir. Then the basic RFT have to do, sir, because the patient is a non case of systemic hypertension. On thiazide diuretics, we have to assess the renal function test has to be assessed, sir. Then the liver parameters has to be assessed. Then we have to do the uric acid levels has to be done, sir, to know if there is a hyperuricemia.
What do you expect about the uric acid in this patient?
In gout, patients can have hyperuricemia, sir, or uric acid levels can also be normal, sir.
Why?
But,
Why it is normal?
Acute attacks, the uric acid can be normal, sir.
Yes, in acute attack, it can be normal because there is too much amount of corticosteroids coming and the anti-inflammatory mediators coming in, which will have a uricosal effect.
Yes, sir.
So that's the reason why they come like that. So any other investigation you want? What are the usual accompaniments of gout? Usually they are accompanied by diabetes.
Right, sir. The complete FBS, MBBS, HbA1c we have to assess, sir. Then the
lipidemia. Has been checked. Creatinine has been estimated. Would you like to check their uric acid in the urine?
Sir, 24 on uric acid levels we have to assess, sir. More than around 250 microgram per gram, it is 2500 some current value range. I am not sure, sir. 24 uric acid should be assessed.
800 is the cutoff. Above that you will say overproducers, and below that you say under excreted. You can put a lab area, don't worry. So that would you like to do an X-ray of this patient?
Yes, sir. X-ray of the right foot we have to do, sir. X-ray.
What are you like?
We have to check for any, if there is any traumatic, any fracture we have to check, sir. Any that we have to check. Then
gout, will you get any changes in the X-ray?
Yes, sir. Gout, the double contour sign will be there, sir, but that is a USG finding. X-ray
will have subcortical cyst may be seen.
Okay, sir.
Why do you want to do full blood count in this patient?
We have to rule of any infection, sir, because the patient is having fever, chills, and rigor. The presence of infections we have to see, sir. Elevated total, very significant elevated total counts you have to see.
But you see, in infection also your count will go up. In gout inflammation also it goes up.
Yes.
Any other clue you will get from the hemogram? If the hemoglobin is very high, you will think of polycythemia as the background. If white cell count is very high, you think it's a leukemia that presenting as gout. So secondary gout comes like that. So we have to closely look at what is happening around there.
Okay.
And in view of the stones, you go for ultrasound abdomen. X-ray of the area affected will be useful. So tell me basically about uric acid metabolism.
Uric acid, there is uric acid metabolism.
It's an end product of which purine pathway?
Purine pathway. Hypoxanthine is converted to
xanthine.
Xanthine followed by allantoin, uric acid.
So you have got xanthine oxidase mediating xanthine, hypoxanthine, and then uric acid. And it is filtered through the glomerulus, absorbed the proximal convoluted tubule. It is going back to the tubule again reabsorbed and secreted. Ultimately, around 10% only will come out through the urine. Rest will go through the gastrointestinal system. That's how it is being metabolized. So uric acid has got a lot of transporters. The genetic mutations of these transporters will be making the person susceptible for gout, and that's the reason why it runs in families. How do they present usually? Gout, what are the presentations?
Gout usually present as the inflammation of the swelling of the monoarticle joint, predominantly of the foot, sir. That is one classical presentation of the gout, sir. Then
they present as gouty flares. They present as chronic arthropathy. They present as tophi, stones, and chronic nephropathy. So describe the acute gouty flare. What's the description?
Usually, the male patient after a binge of alcohol at night, they will get up with severe pain of the affected joint, predominantly of the lower joints, sir, metatarsal joints, sir.
The onset is usually at night. That's correct. And the grade of pain is, we already mentioned grade 4, maybe with the fever. And the peak of the pain comes within 24 hours. That is the peculiarity of acute gouty flare. Okay. Chronic arthropathy, of course, long-term uric acid problem leads on to multiple joints be affected, even can produce sometimes deformities. What about tophi? What are they? What are they?
Tophi are because of the MSU, monosodium urate crystal deposition.
What are the usual sites where it is deposited?
Tophi can be deposited in the joint, metatarsophalangeal joints can be deposited, sir. It can be deposited over the tendons also, it can be deposited, sir.
They are commonly deposited in the ears, helix of the ear,
Okay.
the palms, hands, bony prominences, and over tendons.
Okay.
So, uric acid can be seen in as a stones also. There is history of uric acid stones, and sometimes they can have renal involvement. When you say inflammation of the foot, it also includes inflammation of the toe, namely dactylitis. What is
Yes, sir.
dactylitis?
The swelling and inflammation of the entire digit, sir.
Which other condition where you can have this?
Dactylitis can be seen in gout, can be present in psoriasis also, psoriatic arthritis also we can get dactylitis, sir. Reactive arthritis also we can get dactylitis.
All members of the group spondyloarthropathies can have dactylitis. In addition,
Yes.
you can also have in sarcoidosis.
Okay.
So, dactylitis can be one presentation of gout.
Okay.
What are the usual stages through which it passes? Inflammation. They pass through stages of interictal gout. Then they go to chronic arthritis. Then they go to trophious arthritis. Okay. How are you going to diagnose when there's acute gout?
Sir, during acute gout, we have to do a needle aspiration, sir, of the acutely involved joint, sir. In the needle aspiration, we have to look for the presence of needle-shaped MSU crystals, sir, which can be seen. This can be these MSU crystals are actually positively birefringent, sir.
That's fine.
And
Or negatively birefringent. Positive or negative?
Sir?
Positively refringent or
brightly
or
negatively birefringent. Positive means
what's the shape of these crystals? Needle shaped crystals.
needle.
Okay.
Yes.
So can there be an overlap of infection with gouty arthritis?
Yes, sir. Possible.
So how will you differentiate? What is
the synovial fluid
expected
analysis we have to see.
What is expected count in inflammations? What's expected count in infections?
In synovial fluid leukocyte count, which will be in the range of more than 2000 in the case 2000 in the case of inflammation, sir. In the infections, the range will be little more lesser, sir. Actually.
So infection should be around 100,000. Inflammation around the range of 50,000.
Okay.
So how will you in both conditions to be raised anyway? So how will you differentiate between the two?
The effusions will be mostly the type of effusion you get in the infection will be like more like a pus-like discharge will be the type, whereas it will be little more clear or cloudy, which when there is an in effusion due to gout, sir.
Commonly we do a gram stain and you can see the organism and then go for culture.
Okay.
So differential diagnosis. Differential diagnosis for monoarthritis.
Monoarthritis, it can be gout, sir, can be psoriasis, sir. It can be reactive arthritis, sir.
Monoarthritis is commonly a surgical problem, orthopedic problem, tuberculosis. Okay. Few conditions in medicine will be hemophilia, gout, pseudo gout, reactive arthritis, borrelia.
Okay, sir.
We have very few conditions. Rare possibility of rheumatoid arthritis coming as monoarthritis. What is the differential diagnosis of polyarthritis?
Polyarthritis differential diagnosis can be inflammatory. Rheumatoid arthritis can be a possibility, sir. Then it can be symmetrical oligoarthritis can be in the form of reactive arthritis. We can get symmetrical oligoarthritis can be possible.
Polyarthritis can be psoriatic. Yeah. It can be rheumatoid. Dactylitis differential diagnosis you already mentioned. What are the differential diagnosis of top 5? which other nodules can mimic it? How do you differentiate from rheumatoid nodule? What are the common sites of rheumatoid nodule?
Rheumatoid nodule can be over the.
It will be usually around the pressure points, away from the elbows.
Okay.
Sacrum in bed-bound patients. Over the bridge of the nose who are using glasses. So pressure points, you get the nodules. They are quite big. They are quite big. Okay, but if you are in doubt, you can always aspirate and see for crystals of uric acid.
Yes, sir.
And acute flare of the foot. A differential diagnosis will be sepsis, cellulitis, trauma. So X-ray you already mentioned. Possibilities are, so differential diagnosis is very close. Now imaging you have mentioned. You said there's a double contour sign, and you can have MRI or CT scan. Further investigations can be done. X-ray findings may be there, may not be there. There can be overhang edges. How to classify gout?
It can be acute or chronic, sir.
It can be primary or secondary. When do you say primary? When do you say secondary?
Primary, if there is no other non-cause, sir, if the primary gout. Secondary, if there is secondary to any other causes like secondary to any drugs, any secondary to diuretics, or any secondary to alcohol, then we call it the secondary gout, sir.
Primary common runs in families, no obvious cause. Okay. Secondary, there may be cause. So stage wise, how do you classify them? You got acute gout, chronic gout, you got tophaceous gout, you got neuronephropathy. Okay. So depending upon the mechanism, how do you classify?
Mechanism can be under excretors or over producers.
Okay. Secondary causes or primary causes, which is more common?
Primary causes are more common.
Primary is more. So what are the common secondary causes?
Secondary causes can be dietary excess, one possibility, sir. Can be secondary to any trauma, excess alcohol. That can be because of systemic illnesses like CVA, can be secondary to any myocardial infarction, or it can be secondary to any hyperuricemic treatment also can lead to gout, sir, actually, secondary gout.
Secondary gout is commonly seen in psoriasis. Why you get gout in psoriasis? Because of the excess turnover of the cells which contain nucleic acid.
Okay, sir.
That's why. Same token you get in leukemias, lymphomas as a presentation. Hemoglobinopathies, you get excess turnover. Chronic kidney disease, decreased excretion.
Okay, sir.
Lead toxicity, hypothyroidism, and wide varieties of drugs. So a mnemonic for you, can't leap. So each alphabet is representing a name of a drug. Can you just identify the drugs we are talking about?
Drugs.
Cyclosporine.
Sorry, okay, sir.
Alcohol. Nicotinic acid. Thiazides. Lasix. Ethambutol. Aspirin in small doses. And very commonly drugged anti-tuberculosis drug, namely pyrazinamide. So secondarily we have causes, many causes. So whenever somebody comes with gout, it's our responsibility to look for. So here comes the importance of looking for hidden sites of psoriasis. Here comes the importance of looking for pallor, leukemias, hemoglobinopathies, drugs is taking, other comorbid situations. And under excretors and overproducers has to be identified by 24 urine excretion, but not commonly done. How do you treat acute flare?
Acute flare can be managed with NSAID, sir, or we can use glucocorticoids or colchicine can also be used, sir.
So what are the contraindications for NSAIDs?
NSAIDs contraindications will be in patients who has in any patients in renal failure. NSAIDs are contraindicated, sir.
peptic ulcer disease,
Yes, sir.
congestive heart failure.
Okay, sir.
So there are many contraindications.
Okay.
So colchicine, what are the contraindications?
Sir, if there is any gastrointestinal disturbances, sir, the colchicine is contraindicated, sir. Any?
Can you give it in renal failure?
No, sir. You can't give it.
So all these drugs have contraindications. And if he is a diabetic patient, can you give steroids?
No.
So what will you do then? Then comes the role of intra-articular steroids. So to start with, you go for non-pharmacological treatment. What will you do? To apply ice. That's commonly done. Okay. Then after flare, it subsides by itself, whether you treat or not. Why? So what's the mechanism of acute gouty inflammation of the foot, for example? Why you are having, what's the mechanism? Usually the uric acid crystals are engulfed by the polymorphs.
Okay, sir.
And they release lysosomal granules, they release leukotrienes, cytokines. They produce inflammation and more cells come there. And body counteracts by sending the anti-inflammatory agents, and the inflammation settles by itself, whether you treat or not.
Okay.
Why this foot is selected for this disease? Because uric acid tends to get precipitated wherever the temperature is low. In the human body, the extremities have got minimum temperature, so it tends to get deposited there. And foot is the place where you get trauma now and then unknowingly it gets hit somewhere, and the uric acid crystals comes out, and then site of inflammation continues. So that's how this area is affected. And once the flare subsides, till the next flare is called as interictal period. How will you diagnose at that time? How will you diagnose at that time? At that time, you aspirate and seek for crystals. Similarly, you take X-rays and see, you may get the findings. And the previous history will be helpful to us.
Okay.
So, you have to go for interictal prophylaxis. So, what are the indications for interictal prophylaxis? If in the presence of recurrent acute attacks is there, we have to go for interictal prophylaxis, sir. How many attacks recurrent means? More than two? More than two attacks, you have to go for prophylaxis. If there is a top five, chronic arthritis, renal involvement, so you have to treat such patients.
Okay.
What are the common drugs you use for prophylaxis?
Uric drug can be used. Allopurinol is one commonly used drug, sir. Then another would be probenecid can be used, but usually not given when patients with high renal failure. We can use probenecid. Then benzbromaron can be another uricosuric drug, sir. In patients of CKD, we can use benzbromaron, sir. Xanthine oxidase inhibitor allopurinol is the most commonly used agent, sir. And uricosuric, sir. Febuxoside also can be used.
So, what is the mechanism of action of allopurinol?
It's xanthine oxidase inhibitor, sir.
So, they prevent the synthesis of the uric acid. And what does uricosurics do?
Increase the excretion of the uric acid, sir.
Excretion. So, what are the side effects of allopurinol?
Sir, allopurinol we can use in patients with who has HLA B 58 polymorphism. We can use, sir. That is one of the contraindications to use. Then allergy. Other thing will be there will be skin reaction, sir. There will be skin reaction. There can be hepatitis, renal failure. All those are possible to allopurinol, sir.
What type of skin reaction they have?
They can have SGS or it can be toxic epidermal necrolysis. Both can be possible, sir.
They get severe cutaneous eruption, commonly fixed drug rash, or they get into DRESS syndrome. What is that?
Drug reaction with eosinophilia and systemic symptoms.
Okay, so you can have that. So when you give indirectal prophylaxis, what's your target?
So uric acid, we have to normalize the uric acid, sir, to prevent the recurrent gouty attacks. The levels, it should be less than 6, sir. That should be the range.
And how long you treat the indirectal prophylaxis? Uric acid is a problem that you treat lifelong.
Right. Okay.
Cannot. So what's the etiology? What are the modifiable factors, non-modifiable factors?
Modifiable factors can be obesity, sir. Then diet can be there, sir. Alcohol ingestion can be there, sir. These are all the modifiable. Non-modifiable risk factors will be the presence of family history, sir.
So age, sex, ethnicity, genetic variation.
Yes,
okay, so there are two types of factors. So that will be coming to the, okay, what are the common associations of gout?
So association can be associated with osteoarthritis can be there, sir.
They go with commonly with vascular accidents. Uric acid is commonly associated with CVA or coronary artery disease. It goes with metabolic syndrome, namely diabetic state, hypertension, dyslipidemia, obesity. And eclampsia has also got an association with uric acid problem. So you already mentioned about uricosuric drugs, Benz Bromron. Side effects?
Okay.
Side effect?
Hepatidoxin.
Site of action?
Proximal tubule, sir.
Okay. What about lesinurad? Inhibits urate transporters.
Okay.
Sulfenpyrazone.
Decreases the tubular reabsorption.
Basically, you must know the physiology of uric acid, biochemistry, how much is filtered, how much is absorbed, secreted, reabsorbed, secreted, like that. Okay. So probenecid is not commonly available, so we don't use it. And uric acid synthesis blockers you already mentioned, allopurinol and fluxostat.
Yes.
Okay. So how much will you give allopurinol to start with?
Allopurinol OD dose will give, sir. Usually 100 mg, sir. First you will start with.
How often we'll check the value and increase the dose? We'll have to increase the dose every 2 weeks after checking. Every 2 weeks is the usual pattern of increasing the dose. If maximum dose achieved still not possible, then you go for febuxostat.
Okay.
Okay. So otherwise allopurinol is said to be the drug of choice. When you start using allopurinol, what are the problems you are likely to encounter? The problems you are likely to encounter is basically the problem of flare-up.
Okay.
So when you start giving allopurinol to begin with, you must also add colchicine or NSAIDs.
Okay.
Couple of weeks and gradually withdraw it. Otherwise, flare-up is expected. What are the newer drugs in this category?
Uric acid is a drug, sir.
What is uricase? Tell me what uricase.
Uricase is an enzyme which will convert the uric acid into allantoin, sir. In the primates.
Primates, yes. So that is not available with us.
Yes.
So uricase can be altered, and RAS uricase can be used. Okay. Any other drug?
P-glotticase is also a drug.
Okay. Any other?
IL-1 inhibitors, yes.
Interleukin-1 inhibitors. Anakinra, canakinumab. Renotrecept can be used. What are genetic diseases in relation to hyperuricemia? Can you name some syndromes in relation to hyperuricemia? What's Leishman syndrome?
Leishman syndrome is a self mutilation disorder in children, sir.
What are the physical findings you get? Physical findings you expect? Choreoathetosis, spasticity, self-mutilation.
Okay.
So, where is the trouble? What's it due to?
Disorder in the path of purine metabolism, sir.
Which enzyme is in trouble?
Uh,
PRPP.
okay, sir.
PRPP is in trouble.
Yes.
So, can you tell something about xanthinuria? What is type of transmission of Leishman syndrome?
X-linked, sir. X-linked recessive.
X-linked recessive. Are you sure, or autosomal recessive?
Not sure, sir.
Not sure. Okay. So, name another example of X-linked recessive disease. Hemophilia.
Hemophilia, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, how do you treat a patient with hyperuricemia when he has already undergone transplantation? What are the problems you expect? Can you give them NSAIDs?
No, NSAIDs can't be given, sir. And the uricosuric agent, which nephrotoxic uricosuric agents, can't be given, sir.
What about colchicine?
Colchicine also we can give, sir.
So, which are the interaction of colchicine? Which are the common drugs used given for transplant patients? Not for gout, for immunomodulation. Which are drugs commonly they are on?
Okay. Tacrolimus.
Yes.
Cyclosporin.
Cyclosporin. Azathioprine.
Yes, sir.
Can you give azathioprine with allopurinol? You cannot. It produces bone marrow suppression. Can you give colchicine with cyclosporin? It's again contraindicated. Basically, all the drugs are contraindicated when the GFR is less than 50. Okay. So the problems are always the NSAIDs, colchicine, cyclophosphamide, cyclosporin, azathioprine. So the option left over is mainly intraarticular steroids as and when chance arises. So xanthinuria you didn't say. What is xanthinuria? It is a situation where xanthine oxidase is deficient, autosomal recessive transmission, and it produces severe type of xanthine stones and severe type of myopathy for these patients. So, final diagnosis in this patient.
Acute gouty arthritis involving the left foot, sir.
Can you put it like this?
Yes.
Is coming with association, obesity, hypertension, psoriasis, precipitated by ethanol and glycide. Yes. Suppose you have got a symptomatic patient coming with hyperuricemia, his uric acid is 10, what will you do?
Observe, sir, we'll repeat the uric acid and...
Usual thinking is, if it's about 9 milligram, even if there is symptomatic, you must start treatment. Otherwise, it will get precipitated gradually.
Okay, sir.
So, where all it can get precipitated?
In presence of any any infections, it can get infections.
Does it get deposited in the kidneys?
Yes.
So, what does it produce?
Um,
Okay.
Hello,
A
sir.
65-year-old gentleman is coming first time with gout. What will you suspect?
Sorry, sir. I didn't hear the words.
65-year-old gentleman coming with gout for the first time. What will you suspect? First time, no family history.
Okay. We have to rule out any secondary causes of the gouts. 35 year old, sir. 35 year.
65, 65. Senior citizen.
Okay. Okay.
So this age group, you always think about malignancy.
Okay, sir.
Malignancy, that's very important. Malignancy should always be thought of, or something like a polycythemia, CML, whatever turnover is high. Now tell me, how does ethanol produce precipitation of gout? What's the relation between ethanol and the gout?
Ethanol will inhibit the metabolism
Metabolism of what?
of the uric acid.
It increases the synthesis of uric acid by enzyme
Sir.
induction and decreases the excretion of uric acid by producing ketoacidosis. If you had suggest a diet to this patient, what will you suggest? Avoid organ meat, avoid kidney, liver, seafood, avoid all types of ethanol, particularly beer. Beer contains substantial amount of guanosine. That's why it's a problem. And yeast is a usual substrate from which it is produced. So among the beverages, that is the worst.
Okay.
And if somebody is particular of drinking, he can have red wine. That's all. Not any other type of ethanol. Can he have vegetarian food? Vegetarian food? Vegetarian food may contain vegetable proteins, but most of them are themselves uric agents. That's why vegetarian food is okay with these patients. If you have to select an antihypertensive medication for this patient, which one is useful for you?
Calcium channel blockers can be used, sir.
The calcium channel blocker is a good option. Yes, excellent. Any other option?
Beta blockers.
ACE inhibitors can precipitate uric acid, and losartan specifically said to be very useful in the treatment of prevention of gout because it decreases the basic levels of uric acid in these patients.
Okay, sir.
I think we have gone through almost all aspects of it. Anand, I think you have done a good job.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Do you have any doubt? Please ask me.
Sir, so one of my doubt is, so this asymptomatic patients, lot of us patients will come like this, sir. Uric acid. Some patients will get admitted. Asymptomatically, they will be having uric acid in the range of 8, sir. So I have seen many of them getting treatment for the same, sir. Febujet they will be on for long time, sir. So that is not necessary, no, sir.
Yeah, the guidelines say that if the uric acid level is more than 9 in a symptomatic patient, you are justified in starting treatment. But otherwise, asymptomatic patients you leave alone unless there is more than 2 episodes of arthritis, or they have got renal stones, or some manifestations of gout, top 5. Otherwise, there is no indication to treat. Basically, you check their weight. Their body mass index must be brought to normal levels. Their diet has to be modified. And always think about their accompaniments, diabetes, hypertension, dyslipidemia. And also check what all drugs they are taking and modify. That's not what is required because it's a lifelong treatment and that's not required. And the drugs you are using, namely allopurinol, has got interaction with a lot of other drugs.
Yes, sir.
So unnecessarily loading a patient with the drugs, saying that it's a lifelong disease is not good.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
There are definite guidelines regarding how long to treat, what's the target, when to start, when to stop.
Okay, sir.
Good question. Any other question? The important point from this case is these people don't come to us with the common with arthritis. They come with a diffuse swelling of the foot.
Yes, sir.
From the history, acute onset, within few hours it becomes peak, may or may not with the fever, grade 4 tenderness, previous episodes, family history, all put together, we can make a clinical diagnosis.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any other question, Anand?
No, sir.